Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I am speaking with Lines in the Sky. The band has just released a fantastic new track called Speed, and I am super excited to talk to them all about it. Guys, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your days. How's it going? What's new?
Going
Great.
great. Thanks for having us.
Thank you
Yeah,
for being here. And we're expecting one more who will hop in at some point
yeah, he'll be
for
here in
everyone
a
out there. So if
Hmm.
you're watching, there's a surprise, and if you're listening, there's going to be a fourth voice that comes in. So
It'll be quite the jump scare, I'm sure.
perfect. That's exactly what this needs is some excitement and fun stuff. But I want to get right down to it. So you've got this new song Speed out.
Mhm.
And like I said before we started recording, I had the opportunity to listen to the rest of your guys' music, and it's killer. Like it's totally right up my alley of what I listen to in my life. So to like hear you guys and hear what you're doing, it's fantastic. I want to kick it off by just asking like what is this song about? What does it mean to you? What inspired its creation?
Well, the big thing is like a new direction that we're kind of taking in a more like
Mhm.
accessible poppy thing, but still have the heavy rock things under it.
Yes.
But as far as like what it's about, I guess it's about, I don't know, the grind of everyday life, just trying to one up and better yourself, I guess. I'm not the one that wrote the lyrics, so
Okay.
I also have to interpret it.
Well, that's okay. I mean, not every song needs like a direct like it's about this and it's not about anything else. I kind of think that's the fun part of music is if you want to take the time to connect the dots and the lyrics and make up a story for yourself, then you're welcome to do so.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can just jam out and enjoy what you're listening to.
In terms of the orchestration, or I guess the arrangement is the more appropriate term here. Jesse had always wanted to do a four on the floor kind of idea with the kick drum, and he came to us with this idea. He's like, "Is this dumb or is this cool?" And we are like, "It's pretty cool." And so we
I
built
understand.
built the song around that. And I'm sure he'll have some funny things to say about the production and how much trouble I caused near the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, yeah, we can get into the production stuff once he hops on, but I would love for you guys to introduce yourselves so you're not just two guys on a screen. So, who are you and what is your job in the band?
Okay, I'm guy number one. No, I'm kidding. I'm Bowman Brock. I play drums and I sing backing vocals on occasion,
Cool.
and that's about all I do here.
My name's Nick. I play bass and a little bit of vocals, which, you know, I shouldn't, but Jesse has me do it anyway.
Sure. But
We
no
make
one's
it
telling you no.
pretty. But yeah.
That's awesome.
And then Jesse's our guitar player and singer.
Gotcha, gotcha. Well, yeah, I'll wait for the hard hitting stuff till he gets here, but this is probably a question I think you guys can answer. So,
Yeah.
through my initial listen of this track, one thing that I notice, it's pretty obvious, is that it pulls from a lot of influences and inspirations in different styles, which I particularly love.
Mhm.
If you had to sort of put a label on it, if you had to give an elevator pitch to someone who hadn't, listened to it before, how would you describe it?
Oh God.
I think
It
the one that
looks like we're getting another person right here,
oh my
so
God, is he
I will
finally here?
reiterate the question.
Here comes the jump scare. Hold on.
We need like suspenseful music playing.
Hey, Jesse.
Uh, my brothers, sorry about this.
All good. We're just gonna hop right into it because we're going right now, and I will just reiterate the question for everyone. So I listened to the song a couple times, and one thing that I love about it is that it pulls from so many different styles and influences. What's the elevator pitch for this track to someone who has not listened to it before?
I think like a term that we've kind of settled with is like alternative progressive rock. But
Okay.
this one's starting to turn into like alternative progressive pop rock. So is that too many
Yeah,
words?
I
yeah,
think
it's
music is a little bit of everything nowadays.
Yeah.
yeah. I would say it's alternative progressive rock with an enormous kick drum.
Okay.
Four on the floor.
So yeah, if you're listening and that sounds enticing to you, which I can't see how it wouldn't, because it's truly a little bit of everything. I mean, that's another reason to listen. Um, and Jesse, now that you heard, we can finally get to the hard hitting stuff. So we've covered a little bit of the meaning of this song, but I want to get into the production side of things with you guys. How does your guys' music as a whole come together? And what is really like the dynamic of you guys, putting music together?
So a lot of the time, one of us will have a little. I'll just tell you the process.
Yeah, yeah.
One of us will have a little idea. We'll throw it into Ableton, and kind of every every couple days, every week, we'll get together and kind of hack at it. Usually, someone has ideas that grow from the idea. It's really become much more collaborative than it used to be, which it used to be just me kind of being the main force. And especially when we wrote Beacon, I really wanted it to be more collaborative, which is our last full-length record. But now we're really kind of coming together and working on it together. Even if like the bulk of the song is written by one of us, everybody has a part in writing the structure. And then also everyone really writes their parts for themselves. Nick is really, really good about this, because I've decided that I don't want to really write a bunch of bass parts anymore. And like all the best bass parts are things that Nick has written, and I love that everyone's voice comes through in that capacity. So we usually kind of write it, build it together in Ableton, and then once we feel like it's in a good place, then we start figuring out, is it possible to play this song? And we found out on a couple songs that, oh shit, we can't actually play that. So
Got it.
and then we go in and we record it in a traditional way with like drums first, bass next, guitars and vocals after that. And then if I don't have like post production with like synths and whatnot already finished, then I'll finish that at that point. But I really like, for each step of the process informs the next step in a huge systemic way, because like it's hard for me to do synths without having, or it's hard for me to do guitars without even having a groove. Like a lot of times when I'm writing by myself, I write a groove first,
Yeah, I mean, from the sounds of it, it kind of sounds like a slide puzzle. Like one thing can't go this way without you adding this thing first,
Yeah.
but ultimately it sort of comes together at the end.
Yeah, I mean, many times where we'll have something and we have to retroactively, like, we need to go back to the beginning of the song.
That's right.
So this thing here can make more sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say Nick is very good about that. Like Nick is very good at, because like Bo and I get really in the weeds with it, and Nick does in his own way, but Nick is the voice in the band where he's like, what if we just stopped this and back to the version before?
Sure.
And in the moment, to me, I'm like, but we've had some great stuff come from that.
Clearly you're making it work, and I mean the final product speaks for itself. Obviously, I think everyone's going to enjoy it, but getting to hear how puzzle pieces come together is always an interesting thing.
Yeah,
Because having the opportunity to talk with bands, and it's like, yeah, we just try to do everything and get together all at once and jam it out. But I kind of love your guys' way. Like if I'm going to make music, it's going to be this sort of like intricate pattern of how far can we push it.
yeah.
It's kind of fun because like by the end of it, we're even like, whoa, that was cool.
Right. Yeah. like
this is
how did
what
we do
the
that?
song
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I know that for me, there's always a moment where it's like you finally see the totality of the thing.
Mhm.
And for the song that we've been working on recently, Speed.
Yeah.
It wasn't till like we got it back from master that I was like, oh man, this is cool. It's actually way cooler than I thought it was.
Yeah.
And especially for this one, because, and to reference something specific with production,
Sure.
the kick, there is a massive kick drum when the riff kicks in, and we ended up, I remember we were doing revisions and Bo was like, I want it to sound like a house kick drum, you know, like from a house tune.
Sure.
And we cranked the kick. And I remember Bo was like, "It's not right. I don't give a fuck. It's not right." So
My problem is I don't understand the lingo. So when I describe things, I'm just like, it needs to sound bigger. And they're like, well, what do you mean by that? I'm just like,
yeah.
I don't know, make it bigger.
So
No,
what we ended
I
up
get
doing,
that.
what we ended up doing was we actually, there's like the mix bus compression. We bypassed the mix bus compression with the kick, so the kick isn't being affected by that, and we sidechain just slightly the entire mix to that kick drum, so it just like really hits you in the face whenever it comes in, which is not standard for progressive rock.
Right.
Progressive rock mixes, you know.
Totally. I think this question, like I potentially know the answer, but I want to talk a little bit into the future here. So comparing this song to what you guys have put out in the past, this is obviously like a slight pivot from what you've made. So the question becomes, do you have any plans to continue to experiment? Do you think you're going to continue to explore this sound or just try new things?
I think a little bit of both. I definitely find, so here's another interesting thing about me. I don't really listen to progressive rock in the way that I used to.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of tropes that happen in progressive rock that are really holding the genre back. So, I mean, my top artist for this past year Spotify Wrap was literally Drake. It's my
Really?
top. Yeah. And I mean, The Weeknd is another big one, but then I'm also into like, you know, electronic stuff and like glitch music. And I really want to use influences from all of that stuff with progressive, because progressive can mean a bunch of things, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, like adding crazy elements, you know, like some jazz can be progressive, you know. You know, Sting is a great example of someone who's generally like an alternative musician, but there is some stuff that they do that is just next level that no one else is doing, you know, with like songwriting perhaps, but also with like the part writing and the way that everything works together. Everything works together. I think
Totally.
Sting is definitely a progressive musician.
But what you're saying, like, isn't totally rare. Like, at least from my perspective, I think a lot of people actively try to avoid listening to things in their genre, not necessarily because they get sick of it, but because they don't want to keep copying the same thing over and over, or it'll seep into their subconscious and it's like, oh shit, like I accidentally made the same song I've been listening to over and over. Do you think that's what you guys, I mean, I don't know two guys above me in this chat are like, what are you guys listening to? Does it have any resemblance?
Well, I listen to progressive rock.
Okay.
Nick is the progressive rock.
He does like actively listen to it.
Nick
But
is
I
the
think that's
progressive
like
rock.
I think that's where it comes together. Is like we all three have different things that we like. We just all bring our influences into this crock pot of mess that we make.
Yeah.
For me, I listen to a lot of pop music now, but I don't know. I like a little bit of everything. On one hand, I'll be listening to Bruno Mars, then the next I'll be listening to like Meshuggah or something heavy like that.
Totally.
It can just switch on a dime, and I'm just like, oh, I'm in the mood for this.
Yeah.
I'll just listen to different elements, especially in like the drums. Listening to like different genres is something I learned when I was in school, and they're like, if you want to get better as like a well-rounded musician, you have to really like not like always be listening, but like definitely do delve into different genres. It's like, you know what?
Absolutely.
I'm bored with what I'm listening to, so I'll listen to some funk music. And I was like, wow, this is actually like really cool.
Totally. Yeah, you expand your horizons, and obviously it's led to a slight pivot in what you guys are making. So yeah, you're doing it. I do want to know, because we're still very much at the top of the year, what are some of the plans for 2023? What are like some lofty goals you think you might hit, or just some things you foresee happening?
Yeah. So
for sure.
Say it again, Bo.
New music for sure.
Cool.
Yeah. we definitely really want to knuckle down and get into this new batch of ideas we have. We all have very intensive day jobs, so setting up the schedule so we have time to actually write, and while also rehearsing for shows and whatnot is really important. So I'd say the biggest priority for this year is definitely new music. We also want to get out on the road a little bit more. We just did a small little run in Florida, which was kind of like a warm-up run for us, just getting back into being on the road, because we haven't done that since COVID. And it was a good reminder that we actually can do that. And I think we might have spent a little bit over, but I only think we spent like $300 on food between the three of us for like a 5-day run. It was right at around.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, and like we made food last a couple days, and part of that was because I'm kind of broke right now, but
Sure.
but also, just that's just turning smart, trying to really focus up on, really being there for the shows and making your money last. So I definitely want to go out on some more regional stuff this year. And a new EP this year, or maybe an album, definitely some more singles, but like some consolidated form of something.
Cool.
And then also, we want to have a big local show, and then it'd be cool to like really see some like playlisting happen in some capacity. That's something that everyone struggles with, and everyone's shooting for it.
Totally.
And we have a little bit of an uphill battle because we are such an acquired taste for a lot of people, but it would be cool to see that happen for sure.
Awesome. So I want to kind of know, like, what does a live set look like from you guys? Is it all originals? Is there any covers in there? Like, what's the experience?
We play everything that we wrote. Yeah, all original.
Cool.
If we're really feeling it, or if we're strapped for time, we'll throw a cover in there, but we don't really do covers too often.
We did some covers on our last EP that we played live, but we kind of ended up phasing them out because we just want to play our stuff. So.
Yeah,
of course. Now, is there one song though that you think sort of brings the crowd together the most, or just the one that you most enjoy playing?
Of our songs?
Yeah.
That's a tough one. That's
Not About You always goes over well.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one. We on this past run, and then at a show before, we pulled out 2 old songs. We pulled out arguably the first line song that we wrote when Bo was in high school, and actually I was in high school too.
Yeah, I was in middle school.
Yeah, because Lines in the Sky's been together in some form for about 10 years, and we that it's really fast and upbeat, and I think people really vibed with it. And then there was another song, our second record, that people really moved to as well. So I don't know what my favorite is though. That's a hard one.
That's okay. You should always have more than one favorite.
Yeah, for sure.
I like playing wow, I totally just forgot the name of the song.
New one?
Taciturnity. I like
Taciturnity is fun. Yeah, it's hard.
It is hard, but it's one of the ones where it's like I really like the way I wrote my parts and how they line up with everything. And when I am able to actually play it well, it's very, very satisfying.
I'm sure of that.
I think we played it pretty well on this Florida run.
Very cool.
For me, it's Thalassophobia. It's like this.
Yes, that's a good one too.
The first half of the song is like super easy for me because I just play whole notes and then just, I don't have to do anything hard. And then the second half, then I get a break in the middle because I don't play in the middle.
Sure.
And then the next part is just craziness. And I don't know, it's just a super fun song for me to play. That one, and we have a song called Beacon that I find really fun to play.
Yeah, Beacon is
Awesome.
definitely a favorite, even though Beacon has like one really high stress transition in it for me. It's like it's really energetic section, and then it goes
Sure.
to all the way down to just one clean guitar part. And for some reason, it is just like
that.
where it just freaks me out a
Yeah,
little
just
bit. But that is
losing connection.
that's a good one too.
You've been going.
We lost you there for a second.
Oh no, you got me now.
Yep, there you are.
Yeah, so that song has like a really high stress transition, but it is a very fun one to play.
Nice.
I like that one. So
Cool. Okay, I have one more question for you guys, and I'd love to hear from each of you, but if there's one answer for everyone, then that works too.
Mhm.
So the question is basically for the person that is going to discover you guys from this, what is an opening message that you'd like to say to them before they listen to your music for the first time?
Don't. I'm kidding.
All right, well, it's great talking. I'm just kidding.
I'd say be prepared for anything. Maybe that's a little too much, but
yeah, keep an open mind. Keep an open
Yeah,
mind,
yeah.
and
keep it
like,
open. That's a better one.
and just I don't know, let the music take you somewhere.
Actually, I know what I would say. I'd say listen to a song all the way through before you have an opinion. That's what I would say.
There you go.
What about you?
I don't know. I guess for me it would be like, I like to compare us. I'll be like, if you like this band and this band, we're kind of like
Yeah.
these two together. But
that's
yeah,
another.
that'd be it for
That's
me.
solid, yeah.
And those bands are usually like Coheed and Cambria is definitely one of those bands. Every once in a while we get Mars Volta.
Sure.
Every once in a while we get Circus Vibe. Every once in a while we get like Weird Rush kind of vibes.
Okay.
Trying to think of other ones that people kind of.
I mean, you had me at the first two. That's all I needed to hear.
Well, heck yeah.
But no, I seriously think that, I mean, I'm gonna plug your music again, but I do think it's sort of like this weird marriage of that, but you still do manage to create something unique to yourself. Like, it's not a complete ripoff of anything I've ever heard before. It's clearly you guys doing what you love. And it sounds original, and that's really all you can ask for, especially in today's music where everything feels like a rehashing of the next thing.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing. That's something I've always strived for.
Yeah.
This sounds too much like this band, but we've
Truly.
never really had that.
A lot of,
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard for us to like pinpoint contemporaries,
Sure.
because a lot of times, people ask for that with like playlisting, like, what do you sound like? And I'm like, well,
Not
I
really.
don't know.
That's okay. Listen, people will listen
Not
for
really sure.
themselves, and they'll see, and they'll
And
figure
it's
it
hard
out.
for us to play with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I agree.
I guess a big one for me is there's just a little bit of something for everyone in it.
Yep.
I would say.
Mhm.
So I think anyone can find something they like. They could find. It's like if the heavy people don't like that, well, then we got the more accessible stuff. And if the
Exactly.
if the people that love heavy music hate our poppy stuff, it's like, well, we got this heavy stuff you can listen to.
Boom. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Jesse, Bowman, and Nick, I want to thank you guys seriously so much for taking the time. I'm glad we could all meet up virtually and do this. So
Awesome.
please
Yeah.
let me plug your music for you one more time. If you guys didn't catch it, the song is called Speed. By the time this comes out, the song will be released, and we will have the links and the articles that you can listen and share and follow along and just generally stay up to date. It sounds like there's a ton more coming this year, whether it be touring or new music or whatever it is, but now is the perfect time to stay up to date and see what's happening. So seriously, thank you guys so much. This was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for
You're very welcome. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I hope to speak soon.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Take care. Talk to you guys later.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye bye.